Okay, hi everyone. Today we're going to go ahead and go through the final review part 2 for our test, our final test in Algebra 1. I'm just going to go through these questions so you guys have a reference to come back to. Now remember, in My Open Math, you guys can always check your answers, and then once you check your answers and you want to do a similar question button will pop up. You have actually 19 possible different types of questions you could have here. So make sure you do take advantage of that in case you want extra practice. Okay, so first question, number 1, it says find the slope of the line. Now, if you remember slope, I say it's always rise over run. And for us, we can, since they give us a graph, we can just count the rise. Now pick 2 easy points. I see this is as an easy point. This is not, that's not an easy point. These are all fractions, right? And here's an easy point. So we can just climb, rise 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a positive 5. And a run is a positive, let's see, 1, 2, positive 2. Whoops, that's a 2. So the rise is 5 over 2. That's it. If you want to do this our formula way, and we'll see examples how to do this later, is if I give you 2 points. This point down here is -2, -3. And this point up here is 0, 2. And if I use my slope formula, m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We just plug in our x's and y's, We'll call this y1 and y2. 2 minus -3 over 0 minus -2. Hey, the negatives cancel out to become a positive. 2 plus 3 is 5. And our negatives again become positive. 0 plus 2 is, just 2. So both ways are 100% great. Of course, I find counting the steps a lot easier, especially if they have a graph. But if not, we can always run back to the points, and that could support our answer. Okay, whoa, look, our second question is about find the slope using 2 points. So we call this x1, y1, x2, y2. Whoops. And I'm just using this to support you guys so you guys know which numbers I'm plugging in. And our slope equation is subtract the y's and over subtract the x's. Remember, the idea is rise over run. The y direction is our rise, and the x direction is our run. So it's 6 minus -9. Oh, sorry, what am I doing? That's a positive 9. 6 minus 9 over -5 minus -6. Okay, so this is going to be -4. Oh, not -4, -3. Because 9 minus 6 is 3. Negatives win. And this becomes a positive 6. I have more positives here, so over 1. Answer is -3. Question number 3 says, give the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Now, they want us to find 2 things that we talked about a lot, slope and the y-intercept. And we have a formula for that. Y is equal to mx plus b. So y equals mx plus b is cool because if we can write it in this form, we have our slope and the y-intercept. Well, this isn't in that form. So the trick is to solve for y. If I want to solve for y, what do I have to get rid of? The 6 or the 1? If I'm solving for y, hey, I just need to get rid of the 1 and we're good. Y is equal to 6x plus 1 to both sides, plus 1. So my slope is 6 and my y-intercept is 1. Okay, one thing we like about slope intercept form is that it automatically tells me where to start the graph, the b value, and then what the slope is. How much do I change from that point? Okay. All right, we're on question number 4 already. Okay, we're going through this pretty quickly. Same type of question. I'm not sure. Well, these are really darn similar. I'm not sure why these two were so close together. We were solving for y to get to slope intercept form because we want the slope and the y-intercept. So we add 9 to both sides. Y is equal to 7x plus 9. And in this case, we know what the slope is and the y-intercept. Bam. Also remember, there are videos for all these questions. That if you're stuck, you can get extra help. And this is just a small video. I didn't make it. I chose these questions specifically because they had videos in case you guys got stuck. Now this is a harder level question because look, they want the slope and the y-intercept also, but y is very, very, very buried in this problem. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to go ahead and solve for y. We use our rules from before. Let's discuss what do we have to get rid of. We have to get rid of the 7 x, the 10, and the negative 3. Now, which one will we get rid of first? Which one will we get rid of first? Everything else but the y. So we're going to get rid of 3 plus 3 to both sides, as well as the 7x. So we're going to add 7x to both sides. Now, if you see, the equal sign is our border, so we're moving stuff over to the other side. 7x minus 7x, they cancel out. Negative 3 plus 3, those cancel out. So we're left with only 10. Y is equal to 7x plus 3. Last move, to get rid of the 10, opposite multiply is divide. We're going to divide both sides by 10. Now, I see a lot of kids doing this, but remember, you're going to divide everyone by 10. So y is equal to 7 over 10 x plus 3 over 10. And that is our answer. Just write 7 divided by 10 and 3 divided by 10. If you want to try this again, you guys can always hit similar question, and it'll give you another question. So very similar to this, so you guys can practice it. So you guys are ready for the final. And you can do the final very quickly. Okay, so these questions here is just a chart that you want to fill out quickly. You want to look for the slope and the y-intercept. So looking here, y is equal to, great, that's in the format we like. And the slope is always next to the x. Y is equal to mx plus b. If I write y is equal to b plus mx, hey, m is still next to the x. So the slope here is just simply 3 over 5. And the y-intercept is negative 4. That's my b value. Okay. The goal is to be able to identify your y-intercept and slope. Next question. Hey, we do have an x, so that's my m. But we don't have a b. That's just simply 0. Next question. I don't have an x, do I? So that means I don't have a slope, but I do have a y-intercept. The next question we have to solve for ourselves. Now, I was grading a couple of retakes, and some kids messed up on this. Now, 4y minus 6x equals to 24. If I'm solving for y, we have to get rid of the 6 and then the 4. So let's get rid of the 6 first, because it's farther away. 6x plus 6x to both sides. 4y is equal to 6x plus 24. And we divide both sides by 4. Y is equal to 6 over 4x plus 24 divided by 4 is 6. I can reduce 6 over 4. I can divide them both by the number 3. Oh, by 2. That's 3 over 2x plus 6. So we have our slope and our y-intercept. Now, this one here is a trick question because there is no slope. Okay, so the slope, this graph is x is negative 4 over 5, and that's a vertical graph. So we have no slope, so none. I'll say none. And if they mark you wrong, it's okay. I don't know what the answer is for this one if I did plug in number 6. But I'm going to run out of time. Question number 6, the answer that they want is, oh, D and E. Sorry, write D and E, folks. I'm going to say D and E for does not exist. And they actually tell us right here in the setup for the problem. They say, if the slope or intercept does not exist, write D and E. I should have read that. So hopefully you catch that also. Okay, jump to 7. Write the equation of the graph in terms of x, meaning they want the x in the problem. So to write this equation, we're going to look for the y is equal to mx plus b. And this question will be the b value will be a whole number. So take a look. That's going to be a whole number for us. So we know b is already 3. What's the slope? To get from this point to another easy point, you can pick whichever of these points you want. Let's pick this one right here. So these 2 points. The rise is negative 1, and the run is 1, 2, positive 2. So y is equal to negative 1 over 2, x plus 3. Okay, let's continue. Write an equation for the graph below in point slope form and then solve and rewrite. Cool. If he wants to just write the equation of this graph, we can ignore this since this is a multiple choice. We could write it as point slope form as y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. And we're looking for a point, any point you want. We can pick point that is 0 comma negative 1. And the slope is negative 1 over 1. So my slope is negative 1 over 1, which is just negative 1. So we fill it out. Y is equal y minus negative 1. That's my y. X's and y's here. Is equal to negative 1, x minus 0. Y plus 1 is equal to negative x minus 1 to both sides. Y is equal to negative x minus 1. Okay, that's our answer. Now I want to say if the problem is giving you a funny way of answering it, but it is essentially right. Remember, I'm going to go through all the questions and make sure that you get credit for correct answers. And if it's just the formatting that was a little bit off, I will still give you credit for it. Okay. So make sure you do show the work so I can go back and reference that also. Now this is simply just graph the lines on the grid below. That's it. So graph the lines. So you're going to click this tool here, and as we graph it, we're going to click our first point, in this case negative 3. And then we're going to walk our slope 1, 2, 3, positive 3. Run is positive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Put a dot, and it will automatically graph that line for you. Super cool. But then the second line here, y is equal to x plus 0. My m is 1 and my b is 0. Okay, so from 0, we're going to go up 1 over 1. And they'll automatically graph it for you. Now, do these lines look parallel to you? Because that's the second part 2 of this question. Select the word that best describes the relationship between these two lines. Are they parallel? Are they perpendicular? Or are they nada? Are they neither? And since these lines do not have the same slope, they're not parallel, nor are they perpendicular. And by looking at the pictures, of course, they're going to run into each other eventually. Bam, bam. Whoa, look, car accident. I think this part is the easier part of the test if you guys are good with graphing, and it's probably going to be a lot faster. Okay, so our m and our b value, see 1, the slope is negative 2 over 1. Now careful, remember the slope. If it's just negative 2, that's a negative 2 over invisible 1, our rise over run. Okay, so negative 1, 2 over 1. We have a dot. That's our line. So you want to be able to do these questions super fast so you save your time for harder questions. Now this one here is, it says complete the table. So you can plug in any numbers you want. So if I plug in 0, x is 0. If x is 0, y is 4. 0, 4. But what if x is 1? 3 times 1 plus 4 is 3 plus 4 is 7. If x is 1, 7. If I plug in 2, 3 times 2 plus 4, 6 plus 4 is 10. They just want you to plug in any of those numbers. That should work. There's more than one answer. And then they're going to have you graph it. Okay. I'm graphing a line here. So it's 4 up 1, 2, 3 over 1. And just to show you, if I go up 1, 2, 3 over 1 again, our points that we wrote, 0, 4, 1, 7, and 2, 10. These are all the points on that line. Okay, great job for those guys who did start this. If you guys are hanging out with me and just following along, that's also just as great, okay? But if this seems like a review to you, you should be starting on that review yourself, okay? I see not everyone did a great job on the review. Remember, you can always go back and fix those questions. You want to get 100% on this review. You want to end up with 100% on this review. Why? Because remember, if you get 100% on this review, that means you're really ready for this final. You're really ready for this final. And I want you guys to be really ready for this final. I have plenty of time till we're done. Okay, so next question here is just graph the line. Easy peasy, right? M and B. B is my y-intercept. That means I need to make sure I hit a dot at -3, and the slope is rise over run. So I'm going to rise 2, up 1, up 2, and I'm going to run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rise 5. Draw a line. Okay, that's it. That's what they draw. That's what it looks like. Bam. Easy peasy. Okay. The cool thing is that when I'm drawing lines on a website like this, they do all the work. I just have to put 2 dots. Making sure I got those 2 dots right. Okay, so this question here is talking about intercepts. We're giving something in standard form. And one thing that we have about standard form is I can find the x-intercepts and y-intercepts. Very easy. X-intercepts and y-intercept. Now we said if I want to find the x-intercept, we make y0. Do you guys remember that? If I want to find the x-intercept, we say, hey, what's the x-intercept? Well, that's when y is 0. Y is sitting on the floor. So if y is 0, 4x is equal to -16. Divide both sides by 4. X is equal to -4. So my x is -4 here. Well, if I want to find the y-intercept? Well, y-intercept is here, right here. That's when x equals to 0, because we're right in the middle of the graph. So 4x minus 8y is equal to -16. We're going to make that go to 0. That's 0 now. So -8y is equal to -16. Divided by -8, divided by -8. Hopefully this feels like a review to you. Y is equal to 2. And guess what? We have 2 dots now, and we can graph that. And this was one of the things that we practiced in Excel, how to graph a line with just the intercepts, the x-intercept and the y-intercept. All right, very similar question here. We can use our same exact steps here. They didn't tell us how to graph it, but we can graph it using our intercepts. Let's try that. If I make y0, well then x is going to be, well, that's divide both sides by -6. X is going to be 24 divided by 6 is a 4. Positive divided by negative is going to be -4. So x is -4. That's a free point here. If I want to go ahead and divide, let's go ahead and cancel out the other ones. Let's make y0, okay? Let's make y0. So I had down x0. That means we have a 8y equals to 24. We can divide both sides by 8. Y has to be 3 then. Great, y is 3. That's my y-intercept. It's my y-intercept because we touched our y value, our y-axis, and our x-intercept. We draw a line. Bam. If you want to try it another way, we can do slope-intercept form. -6x plus 8y equals to 24. And this is a skill that they're going to be asking you about later. If I want to solve for y, we get rid of the x's and the 8. So plus 6x to both sides. Opposite of minus is plus. 6x plus 24 is equal to 8y. Then we divide both sides by 8, 8, 8. Let's see if this is going to give us our same graph. 8 divided by 4, I'm going to reduce. I can reduce 8 and 6 by 2. That's 3 over 4x. And 24 divided by 8 is 3. Oh, I made a mistake here. Wait, what? No, what? Ooh, wait. I made a mistake. Did I? Where? Oh, no. Okay, we're good. So here is my y-intercept at 3, and my slope is 3 over 4. Up 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 for my run. That's good. If you want, remember, we can always make them go backwards. 3 over 4. If I make it negative, it's still 3 over 4. So if I go backwards, 1, 2, 3 down, and back 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. We would still end up with the same graph. Yay, win. So you can see how fast we have to do these questions. So hopefully you feel strong enough that you guys can do these questions at a fairly strong rate. Because you will have like 16 questions, and I'm giving you guys an hour and 5 minutes. So that's 65 minutes for 16 questions. You're a little bit over 3 minutes per question. So you have to do them pretty quickly. And of course, some questions will take longer than others, so we want to make sure we have leeway. I do expect some people to be able to finish this test in like 40 minutes, so maybe even like 30. So the question is, read this question carefully. It's a trick question-ish. Find the slope of a parallel line between these 2 points. Now, How do we know lines are parallel? Well, lines are parallel because they have the same slope. They have the same change. They don't have the same y-intercept. We don't care where they start. We just care that they never meet. They have the same growth. So we have to find out what the slope is. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So 10 minus 3 over negative 9 minus negative 3. 7 over negative 9 plus 3 is negative 6. So our slope is 7 over 6. Okay, and if our original slope is 7 over 6, our parallel slope will be also 7 over 6, negative 7 over 6. So if you notice how much work I'm showing, I do expect you guys to be able to show this work on the test. Okay, show this work on the test. Okay, this is next question is an application question of parallel lines and perpendicular lines. The question here is, are these lines parallel? Perpendicular or neither? Parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Okay, how do I tell if something's parallel or perpendicular? Remember, parallel lines have the same slope. And perpendiculars, the slope isn't parallel, but let me give you an example. It's always easiest to look at the example. If my slope is 1 over 2, the parallel slope is negative 2 over 1. Not only do we flip the fraction, we also make it negative. Two things that we do. So y is equal to 2x plus 3. So my slope is 2. Yay, that was super easy. Now what's the slope for my second problem? We have to solve for y. I see 7y is equal to 14x plus 21. That's not in a format I'm used to, but we know if we solve for y, so I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Y is equal to 2x plus 3. What? Look, these lines are actually the same line for some reason. What? That doesn't make any. That's kind of weird. Well, for sure, I guess they're parallel. They wanted to say parallel. But these are actually the same line. 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3, they're actually the same line. That's kind of awkward. So what happens, these questions are coded by teachers. So I guess they forgot to code an exception where these two values cannot be the same. Whoops. Someone messed up there, but it's not a big deal. Okay. Okay. Determine whether two lines are parallel, just like before. Perpendicular or neither. So they're not in the right format. So let's go ahead and rewrite this around. 4x plus y is equal to negative 14. Because I don't know what the slope is, I'm going to let minus 4x to both sides. Y is equal to negative 4x minus 14. Yay! Now this is slope-intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. We have our m, we have our b. We are golden here. My m value, though, is negative 4. Well, what's my second equation? I don't know. So let's go ahead and solve for y. Minus, sorry, my mistake. We're going to add 24 to both sides. 6y is equal to 24x minus 13, because I'm trying to solve for y. Then divide both sides by 6, 6, and 6. Y is equal to 4x minus some fraction, 13 over 6. Now, is 4 the same as negative 4? It's not, so it's not parallel. And some kids might say, oh, then they're perpendicular. Nope, perpendicular would mean that this would be a positive 1 over 4. Remember, we have to flip the fraction. So this is actually neither. So be ready for that. Okay, let's go check out this next one. 3x plus y is equal to negative 15, and 5x minus 15y is equal to negative 10. Okay, so I don't know what the slopes are, so let's go ahead and solve it. Y is equal to negative 3x minus 15. How did I do that? Because I minus 3x to both sides. So we know the slope is negative 3. Now the second one, solving for y, I want to minus 5x to both sides, minus 5x. Negative 15, y is equal to negative 5x minus 10. We're going to divide 15, negative 15 to both sides. Careful, that seems like a big number. So y is equal to, okay, I can reduce this by 5. So it's going to be positive 1/3 x, and we can reduce this to become positive, divide them both by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2, and 15 divided by 5 is 3. Now my slope here, careful, is 1/3. All right, let's compare this to my slope over here, negative 3. They don't look alike, so we know they're not parallel. But are they reciprocals of each other? 1/3, reciprocal becomes 3/1. Yeah, that's good. And a positive becomes a negative. All right. So they are negative reciprocals of each other. So that's not parallel, but for sure that is perpendicular. So we went through an example of all three different types. Okay. All right. So as we get into the harder questions now, we worked on these before, and these are our last questions in test number, I feel like test number 3, I feel. So they want us to write a perpendicular line equation, okay, that crosses through point 8, negative 8, and it's perpendicular to this line. So when lines are perpendicular, oh, one thing also, oh yeah, so we can enter it in, actually, no, they just want us to do our point slope form. You don't have to if you rather write slope-intercept form, that's also 100% okay. But let's go ahead and set up our point slope form. Y minus y1 is equal to m, x minus x1. Okay, so we need to find a point. They gave us our nice point we want, so y minus negative 8 equals to m, I'm going to fill this out in a little bit, x minus 8. What's the slope? These are perpendicular, so careful, if it's perpendicular, my original slope was 1/4. You guys all agree my original slope is next to the x? That's 1/4. So the perpendicular slope should be negative 4/1, which is just negative 4. And that's what they wrote. They just wrote negative 4 here. Now, if you want to distribute this and say y plus 8 is equal to negative 4x plus 32, I'm multiplying out the negative 4 and then minusing 8 to both sides. Y is equal to negative 4x plus 24. Yeah, this is 100% okay to do. And they would give you a right answer also. They didn't specifically tell us which format they wanted. That's fine. Now, the cool thing is, remember, they also, for this platform, you can also click Show Detailed Solution. Okay, we're almost done. We're going to finish this before the class, okay? So now, the problem now is this is parallel. Oh my gosh, this looks crazy, right? What in the world? So how do I find out what the slope is for that crazy equation? Let's go ahead and solve it. And you'll realize it's actually not going to be that much work. We're going to solve for y. So I'm going to move over the x. So negative 19y is equal to positive 11x minus 1995. Then we divide both sides by negative 19. Y is equal to, negative 19. Y is equal to negative 11/19 x, and then some fraction. We don't care about it. Because all we care about for parallel lines is that we have the same slope. So my new line, y minus y is equal to negative 11/19, great, x minus x. And my y value is negative 5, and my x value is 9. Okay, we just plug that in, and we're in good shape. And this is point slope form. Okay, we're at our end of the run. This is our newest section, our solving. Now look here, let's read the questions. Consider the following graph of system of equations. Write the solution. Solution means where do these lines meet? They meet at this off point, but take a look. This is 3 because it's between 2 and 4, and that's 4. So they meet at 3, 4. That's the solution for both these lines. And that's really all they wanted. 100%, that's all they wanted. That's all they wanted. This one here is asking you to graph first. Fine. Y is equal to mx plus b. So our b value is -1. Let's start at -1. And the slope is -2. Just remember, -2 is -2 over 1. So we have a rise over run. So we're going to go down 1, 2 over 1. We have our line. Something like that. Our next graph is +2. So +2. And the slope is -1 over rise over run over 2. So these lines are going to meet. Now, I'm drawing kind of messy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk myself back. Up 1, back 2, up 1, back 2. So I know these are my points for sure, okay? These are my points. Now I'm going to do the same thing for my red graph, my first graph. I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. Now, do they share a common point? It looks like they share a common point right here. Common point is -2, 3. Of course, that's going to be a lot more obvious in your graph because it's going to draw those graphs a lot more straight for you. Okay, we're at our second to last question. Now, again, we're going to solve it. Let's go to graph this one. -1, 2, 3, 4. Here's -4. The slope is -2 over 1. -2 over 1 is the same as -2. Now, the second equation here, that's our equation that doesn't give us a slope right away. But we can always write this in slope-intercept form. So we're going to solve for y. 6y is equal to -3x plus 12. I'm going to divide both sides by 6, 6, and 6. Y is equal to -3 divided by 6. I can simplify this. I can reduce them both by 3, 1/2, x plus 2. So here's my y-intercept is at 2. And then my slope is -1 over 2, -1 over 2. Now, of course, when you're graphing this, it's going to help you graph this out really nicely. And let's just take a look at their graph. And the graph looks like it's going to end up at -4, 4. That's where they intersect. So the cool thing is that these problems can be very easy. It's just graphing lines and back to graphing lines, something that we did pretty much this whole test, so the whole final 2 review. So hopefully you guys are getting a lot better at graphing lines. Actually, no, that was our last question. All right, I thought we had 24, but even better. Try 23.